Today we're going to take a look at physical health. Now, I've kind of tried to stay away from this in the past because there's just so much half-truths and misconceptions around it that it was hard for me to really get to the bottom of how to explain it. But I'm going to make my attempt today to do just that, so here we go. When we think of emotional health, this is kind of a beacon showing us where we need to go. When we think of mental health, this is kind of the solutionary process. How are we going to get to that beacon? And physical health is, are we actually getting there? Did we gain more patience because of the actions we did? Or do we blow up just as quick? If we just blow up just as quick, we did not physically gain that. We are seeking the experience that makes these things kind of come together. So we'd say that to give form to the emotional and or mental process, we have physical action. We have physical health. The physical body is reaching out with its senses to find the environment, the experience, even a little bit lighter than just actions. It's a little bit softer in the way that you can't really run into an experience, but you can go through an experience. And from that, we gain the right emotional and mental fabric to start building the thing that we're looking for. Now, that being said, we also have to be able to use our senses to navigate this kind of environment. So we have to know, what is the body trying to tell us? What are we really supposed to take away from the experience? We can all go through the exact same experience and come up with completely different end outcomes. Why is this? Mainly because we're solving for different things, but ultimately because there are all those pieces in that experience itself. And each person is trying to find their way of navigating it. But the end outcome of this navigation must be restorative and health. The thing about gaining things with the body and self-care in general is these things are so much already you that when you gain them, it doesn't seem like the big dramatic change of like gaining 10 pounds of muscle or running a half marathon or getting a Nobel Prize. It doesn't feel the same way. It feels more of like a releasing of potential. Now we can do these things that used to be challenging for us. We have these internal resources to meet challenge. And in that way, we become more ourselves or walk towards more ourselves. But for that to happen, we physically have to go through an experience. Now, the experience is not always easy. However, we can still gain strength from hard things. We need to put easy things in perspective. We need to put hard things in perspective. If I think something that is actually really hard should be easy, we will have this kind of mental dissonance. So we'd feel like it's so much harder because it's not getting done in the time frame that we should get it done, but that's only because we've classified it as easy. And most likely, if it is taking a long time to get done, it has to be hard. If it was easy, it would get done quickly. So we have this kind of also, I call it like physical language, let's call it, where just because we might think something, just because we might feel something, if the end outcome is not the thing that we thought or felt, then we're not speaking the physical language. There needs to be more to it. So it's a little bit more concrete. If A plus B equals C, then it must always equal C. So if I'm doing something for my emotional health, it must make my mental health better, and this must make me do actions that maybe were used to be hard for me to do, they should become easier. And then we have an idea that we're moving along the plane of the physical health, essentially. So if we're in the gym, we're working out, we're trying to get a bigger chest, let's say, and the result is not a bigger chest, or the result is pain in the shoulder, or the result is frustration, or the result is emotionally breaking down, then we are not taking on the right solution for what we're wanting to get. And this might have us reflect and say, is this really what I need? It's probably what I want, but there might be something before that. Am I missing the 12 steps before that? If I am, the body will keep showing me that. Something's missing, you're hurt. Something's missing, you feel hurt. Something's missing, wrong solution. These are all ways of bringing you back to what are you physically doing? And are you doing it from the right place? Right? because we are going to say that the body is a truth teller of our emotions and our thoughts, and this brings about our experience of something. If I am sad and I take on the environment of sadness, and I do that for 12 days, then all my experiences are going to be sad for those 12 days. I could take them on being happy. Yes, the same thing would be true. Then all my experiences will be happy. However, we can't force emotion that way. Emotion is a quiet and soft thing that comes when it needs. Just putting on the face, the persona, the mask, if you will, is not going to lead to the end experience that we want, and there will be physical costs to that, whether it's in feeling kind of phony, whether it's in not getting to our goals, whether it's in feeling frustrated all the time. Then we're going to say that something is off in our physical way of navigating life. Ultimately, what do these mental, emotional, and physical things lead to? They lead to the end outcome of our lifestyle. We'd say our lifestyle is the tangible expression of these three things working together. How are we living? Is this how we want to live? If so, what are the results of that? If they are healthy, then great. If there are things that need to be kind of worked on in certain areas, then let's work on them. How do you work on them? We're going to have to take a look at all those three aspects. They are never separated. In fact, the truth of the physical way of looking at that is that we cannot have progress in one area and not all three. Another physical way of looking at it is we can't do something for our health that is damaging of somebody else's health. This would mean that it would be breaking the whole health concept and therefore would not be great. Can we get through life without disappointing and hurting people? Not going to happen. That's how we learn our lessons. That's how we give value to experiences. But are we going to do it in a kinder way? Are we going to do it from a kinder place? I guess is a better way to put it. Are our goals from that constructive? Are we being snippy to be snippy? If so, we need to look, why is this a solution? The body always gives us solutions. The mind always gives us solutions. The emotions always trying to point us in that way, but it might be a little bit harder to see. So there is no way that we can violate any health rule and come out good in the physical, mental, or emotional health realm. They must be together. Together, they combine and create something greater than themselves. This is going to be the most persistent thing. I often said back in the day that the most persistent environment wins, right? So if you are in an environment that is stress-ridden, then you will be stressed. That's going to be the end outcome. If you are in an environment that's restorative in nature, things will start restoring themselves. However, this environment is not particularly something that you just run into and it's there. It's something that you build. You put all the pieces together, and each brick, let's say, being laid from the environment, made up of, let's say, restoration, right? An action made up of restoration, we put here. Another thought made up of restoration, we put here. An action made up of restoration, we put here. And we slowly build our castle of restorative health. But there will be hard work. We will not get there without hard work. It is such a powerful thing to be healthy and to stay in one's health. Then why would we get that without effort? We have the kind of, say, incomplete thought of that things come easily without action, without dedication. And the truth behind that is, technically, yeah, we have all the pieces to bring that out of ourselves, for sure. But we still need the experience that brings that out of ourselves. And that is going to be the physical way of looking at it. There is something that needs to happen to gain that result. And in that way, bringing ourselves closer to what the physical experience of physical health is like. There's a lot of moving pieces in this kind of formal outline of physical health, but I do want to give it the right character. In life, it's a little bit more solid. It is that eureka moment where you make that change and all things come together. We'd say this is more of a physical health component. It is the experiencing of the mental and emotional aspects of things being brought into life or being brought to life And in that way, we go through that experience. And that experience is going to be changing because this is a synergy of all three things, a unity, and we will kind of admire this moment. It might not last long, it will have a lasting impression, but we can forget it quickly because it is such a unique combination. It's not how we live our everyday life. And that's why we're building these pieces of those bricks. When we have that moment, we really want to dive into it and say, oh, this brick is one of health. So how do I go deeper into that? Thank you very much for listening. This is Physical Health.